In every major crisis throughout history, whether it was a natural disaster or an economic collapse, one hard truth always floats to the top. Your preps are only as good as your ability to protect them. It only takes 3 seconds for someone wearing a badge or a ski mask to snatch away everything you've worked so hard to build. While you've been carefully stockpiling supplies and planning for every contingency, the government has been planning too. For decades, governments have developed playbooks for national emergencies. While many old executive orders are no longer active, they show a consistent pattern. In a crisis, authorities move to centralize control over key resources. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's the predictable logic of crisis management, all done under the banner of the greater good. When the grid goes down, survival isn't just about what you've stored, it's about what you can keep. Your survival stash, the very lifeline you've built for your family, instantly becomes a target. Not just for desperate neighbors or opportunistic looters, but for organized official confiscation. The justification will sound reasonable to many. Redistribution for the common welfare, to prevent hoarding, and to ensure everyone gets a fair share. But what they call hoarding, you call survival. Number 1. Food. The first and most obvious target is your food. Food is power. Without it, there's no strength, no clear thought, and no future. For any authority, controlling the food supply is the fastest way to control a desperate population. A hungry person is a compliant person. Your long-term pantry, the one you've spent years building, suddenly looks like a problem to them. It's not hard to imagine how anti-hoarding laws, typically used against price gougers, could be expanded in a crisis to define hoarding in a new way. While Ready.gov recommends you have at least a 2-week supply, in a true SHTF scenario, who decides what's reasonable? Agents sent to collect resources won't be there to debate. They'll have orders to seize assets for central distribution. They'll say it's for the greater good. Your careful planning will be relabeled as selfishness. History shows this pattern again and again. When large groups need to be fed, private stores are the first to go. Hiding your food requires you to think in layers. Never keep all your food in one obvious spot like a basement pantry. That's the first place everyone will look. Instead, break your supply into smaller, hidden caches. First, think about deep storage outside your house. 5-gallon buckets filled with Mylar-bagged food can be sealed and buried under a garden bed or beneath a woodpile. A better method is using large PVC pipes, capped and sealed, to create waterproof underground tubes. Inside, get creative with unused space. A shallow closet can be framed out to create a hidden void behind a new back wall. The space under floorboards or in an attic far from the main hatch and buried under insulation can hide flat-profile food containers. Think about everyday objects. A non-working chest freezer in the garage could be full of canned goods. Hollow furniture, like a window seat with a false bottom, can hide a surprising amount. Finally, set up a decoy pantry. This is a small, easy-to-find stash of food, maybe a month's worth. If confronted, you lead them right to it. They feel like they found your stash, they take it, and hopefully, they move on, leaving your real caches untouched. And most importantly, don't talk about your preps. Loose lips sink ships, and in this case, they empty pantries. Number 2, water and water filtration. Water is life. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. When the taps run dry, stored water and the gear to purify it become more valuable than gold. Authorities know this. Controlling access to clean water gives them absolute leverage. The justification for taking it is just too easy. We need this for the local hospital. Or, we're setting up a water point for families. Your stacks of bottled water, 55-gallon barrels, and that shiny Berkey filter are all glowing targets. While some states already regulate rainwater collection, the real threat is that in an emergency, any large private store of a life-saving resource could be declared a community asset. It's a fantasy to think they'd let one family sit on 1,000 gallons of clean water while the town well is dry. Protecting your water requires a 3-part strategy: store it, source it, and purify it, all with total discretion. First, your stored water must be out of sight. Those big blue barrels are too obvious. Instead, use stackable water bricks that can be hidden in wall cavities or under floors. The ultimate solution is an underground cistern, installed under a deck or shed, with the intake disguised as a simple drain pipe. For inside, a water bladder designed for a bathtub can hold up to 100 gallons, filled right before the pressure dies and kept out of sight. Second, have renewable water sources. A well is a huge plus, but have a manual pump backup, like a simple pump. Know where other, less obvious water sources are, like creeks or springs within walking distance. Third, and most important, is filtration. A big stainless steel filter on the counter is an advertisement. Keep it, but have multiple smaller, portable filters hidden away. Sawyer Squeeze or Life Straw filters are tiny and can be stashed anywhere. Build a DIY biofilter from buckets, sand, and charcoal. The parts can be stored separately and look like junk until you assemble them. Your most important water asset isn't the water itself, but the times knowledge, times tools, times to make it safe. Number 3, medical supplies. In a grid-down world, a small cut can turn into a deadly infection. The ability to treat injuries and illnesses at home is a massive advantage. And that's exactly why your medical supplies are a prime target for confiscation. The official line will be morally bulletproof. They are seizing excess supplies to stock emergency clinics for the sick and vulnerable. We saw the playbook for this during the COVID-19 pandemic. The government used the Defense Production Act to control the distribution of medical equipment. Now, these orders were used to target commercial entities and price gougers, not to take a personal first aid kit. But it proved the principle. In a national health crisis, they will control the flow of medical supplies. In a worse disaster, it's easy to see how that could be expanded to include your antibiotics, trauma supplies, or prescription meds, all for fair and equitable distribution. Hiding your medical supplies requires precision. You can't just toss them in a bucket. First, use a tiered system. Tier 1 is your show kit. This is a normal-looking first aid kit you'd be willing to give up. It's your decoy. Tier 2 is your primary accessible supply. This has what you need for common issues: bandages, antiseptics, pain relievers, and extra prescription meds. Hide this kit, but keep it reachable. Think inside a false bottom drawer, a hollowed-out book, or vacuum-sealed inside a toilet tank. Tier 3 is your deep storage, your strategic reserve. This is where you keep the priceless stuff: fish antibiotics, suture kits, surgical tools, and trauma gear. These need to be protected. You can vacuum seal them in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and store them in ammo cans. For temperature-sensitive meds, you could use a small, unplugged dorm fridge, hidden and disguised. Its insulation will protect the contents from extreme temperature swings. Finally, keep quiet about your health. If a family member needs a specific medicine, that information is strictly need to know. In a crisis, that knowledge makes you a target. We're only 3 items in, and you can already see how vulnerable you are without a smart concealment plan. The idea that your property is completely yours vanishes the second a national emergency is declared. If you're finding this information valuable, do me a solid and hit that like button and subscribe. It tells the algorithm that people need more of this practical, no-nonsense content. Even better, drop a comment below. Which of these first 3 items are you most focused on protecting? Your ideas help the whole community get smarter. Now, let's get back to it. Number 4, generators and power solutions. When the grid dies, the world goes dark. Light, heat, and communication disappear. In that world, anyone who can make their own electricity is a king. A generator is a massive force multiplier, letting you run tools, charge radios, and keep a sense of normalcy. The government knows this. In a prolonged blackout, it's not a stretch to imagine any order targeting large-scale infrastructure being expanded to include all private power sources. The justification is simple. Your generator is needed to power a clinic or a communications hub. They'll come for your gas generator, your standby generator, and yes, even your solar power system. Those panels on your roof are a giant billboard that screams, "We have power." The controllers and battery banks are the heart of that system, and they're easy to confiscate. Hiding a power system is tough due to its size and noise. Your strategy has to be about stealth. For a portable gas generator, running it in the open is a terrible idea. The noise is a beacon. You need a dedicated, sound-dampened spot. A small shed or a corner of the garage can be insulated with sound-dampening material. Build a hush box, an enclosure for the generator with baffled vents that let air flow but trap sound. Route the exhaust through a car muffler and vent it at ground level into bushes to hide the fumes and noise. Standby generators are harder to hide. Camouflage is your best bet. Plant thick shrubs around it. Build a decorative structure over it that looks like a small firewood shed or a doghouse anything but a generator housing. Solar is quiet but visible. If you can, install ground-mounted panels in a less seen part of your yard, not on the roof. They can be partially hidden by landscaping. The critical components, batteries, inverter, charge controller, must be secured in a hidden fortified closet or a small ventilated room in your basement. Most importantly, practice power discipline. Just because you have power doesn't mean you should advertise it. Use blackout curtains. Don't run loud power tools at night. Run your generator for short, irregular periods to charge batteries, then live silently off the batteries. The best power is the power nobody knows you have. Number 5. Fuel. A generator is useless without fuel. A car is just a metal box without it. In a crisis, fuel is liquid gold. It runs the equipment that rebuilds and the vehicles that transport. When the pumps run dry, your private fuel cache becomes a strategic asset. Historically, wartime governments have always implemented strict fuel rationing. In a future crisis, the justification will be to power emergency vehicles and essential services. They won't ask nicely. The bright red gas cans in your garage are the first thing they'll grab. Securing your fuel supply means solving 3 problems: safe storage, stabilization, and concealment. First, those red plastic cans are a bad choice. They scream, fuel, they degrade in the sun, and they're not great for long-term storage. Upgrade to metal jerry cans or DOT-approved drums. Hiding fuel is tricky. Burying it is one of the best methods. You'll need a steel drum with a protective coating. Treat the fuel with a high-quality stabilizer like PRIG for gas or PRID for diesel, which can keep it fresh for years. Bury the drum below the frost line with a discreet access pipe for a hand pump. For smaller caches, use decoy containers. Clean out old, opaque paint buckets and hide 5-gallon fuel bags inside. Stored on a messy garage shelf, they'll likely be overlooked. Another trick is hiding in plain sight. A row of seemingly empty 55-gallon drums labeled non-potable water could have 1 or 2 full ones mixed in. Rotate your fuel. Use your stored fuel in your car or mower annually and replace it to keep it fresh. And remember, fuel has a powerful smell. Any storage spot needs to be vented in a way that doesn't give it away. Your fuel reserve is your ticket to mobility and power. Protect it. Number 6. Communications gear. In a crisis, information is life. Knowing what's happening where threats are, which roads are blocked, gives you a massive tactical edge. On the flip side, authorities need to control information to prevent panic and organized resistance. That makes your independent communication gear a direct threat to their control. While old emergency orders focused on seizing broadcast media like TV and radio stations, the modern threat is about controlling the airwaves themselves. Ham radios, GMRS, and even powerful CBs let you talk outside of official channels. That's something authorities in a crisis will not tolerate. They could declare communications silence, making unauthorized transmissions illegal. Mobile patrols with direction, finding equipment can pinpoint a radio signal with scary accuracy. Your radio isn't just a target for seizure, it's a beacon that can lead them right to your front door. Securing your comms gear means protecting the hardware and mastering radio discipline. First, your base station radio and its power supply shouldn't be sitting out on a desk. Create a hidden comms corner in a closet or attic. Better yet, make your setup modular so it can be broken down and stored in a grounded metal ammo can, which acts as a small Faraday cage. Second, your antenna is your biggest vulnerability. A giant antenna on the roof is a dead giveaway. You need clandestine antennas. A simple random wire antenna, painted a dull color and run along the eaves of your house or the top of a wooden fence, can be very effective and nearly invisible. A flagpole antenna is another great option. Third, have redundant portable radios. Handhelds are essential for local communication. Store them in multiple hidden spots with spare batteries and a small solar charger. One in your go bag, one in your car, one in a cache. Fourth, practice strict radio discipline. The most secure radio is one that isn't transmitting. Listen more than you talk. When you must transmit, keep it short, use pre-arranged codes, and never say your name or location. Assume every transmission is being monitored. Your radio is a lifeline, but used carelessly, it's the anchor that sinks you. Number 7. Weapons and ammunition. This is the big one. The Second Amendment is supposed to guarantee your right to bear arms. But in a declared state of emergency, rights can get fuzzy. The most infamous example of this happened in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. Police and National Guard units went door to door, confiscating firearms from law-abiding citizens, leaving them defenseless in a city that was falling apart. Now, that action was so controversial it was widely condemned, and it even led to new federal and state laws to prevent it from happening again. But in a truly nation-shattering crisis, do you think a government desperate to restore a monopoly on force would hesitate to try the same playbook? The justification would be public safety. They would seize your firearms, the very tools you need to protect your family from the threats you prepared for. Ammunition would be an even bigger priority. Without it, a firearm is just a poorly balanced club. Concealing firearms and ammo requires a robust, multi-layered system. Your gun safe is a great start for preventing theft, but for a determined confiscation team, it's just a big box that says, "Guns here." First, decentralize your storage. Never keep all your firearms in one spot. Your primary home defense weapon might be in a quick-access hidden safe, but the rest of your collection should be elsewhere. Second, create deep concealment caches. False walls are a classic for a reason. A section of a garage wall can be built out to create a hidden compartment perfect for long guns. Custom furniture is another great option, a bookshelf with a false back or a window seat with a hidden compartment. Third, think like the military for ammo caching. Watertight ammo cans are perfect. Vacuum seal them in larger bags and bury them under a new concrete slab for a sidewalk or a patch in your garage floor. Or, hide them in plain sight. An ammo spray painted and stenciled to look like it holds spare plumbing parts on a messy workshop shelf is unlikely to get a second look. Fourth, get creative. The engine bay of a junk car, inside old tires stacked in a corner, or in sealed PVC tubes hidden within the frame of your deck. The rifle they don't know about is the one they can't take. Number 9. Construction materials and tools. After a disaster, the mission shifts from survival to recovery. The ability to repair and fortify your home is a critical long-term advantage. This is where tools and construction materials become priceless. Plywood can board up windows, tarps can patch a roof, and a good set of tools can fix almost anything. These items are also strategic resources for emergency planners. FEMA and other agencies will need to build shelters and repair infrastructure. Where will they get the materials? They'll look at home improvement stores, lumber yards, and potentially well-stocked private homes. Your stockpile of lumber, tarps, and hardware could be seen as a community asset to be used for the public good. Your high-end tools could be commandeered for official work crews. Hiding these bulky items is a challenge. The strategy is to make your supplies look like worthless junk. For lumber and plywood, use the in plain sight method. Don't keep a neat, organized stack of premium materials. That's a target. Create a messy, disorganized pile of scrap. Mix your good sheets in with old, warped pieces. Splash some paint on them. Let your good lumber get weathered and gray. Make it look like a forgotten project pile that isn't worth the effort to sort through. Tarps are easier to hide. Unroll them from their original packaging and fold them into nondescript bundles. Store them in old duffel bags, trash cans, or under the insulation in your attic. Your tools are high value. A big rolling tool chest is a magnet. Again, decentralize. Have a sacrificial toolbox with cheap basic tools you'd be willing to lose. Hide your quality hand tools in smaller bags or tool rolls in various spots inside a wall cavity, in the trunk of a junk car, or buried. For power tools, remove the batteries and store them separately. A tool without a battery is a paperweight. The tools themselves can be hidden in your basement rafters or a false compartment in a workbench. And don't forget that knowledge is the most important tool. Print out or have offline digital copies of repair manuals and construction guides. A skill can't be confiscated. Number 10. Cash and precious metals. If the banking system freezes or the currency collapses, digital wealth could vanish. Physical assets will be king. Cash, especially in small bills, will be vital for local trade. Precious metals like gold and silver are a timeless store of wealth that has outlasted every failed currency in history. However, governments have a history of targeting these assets. Think it can't happen? It already has. In 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's Executive Order 6102 made it illegal for U.S. citizens to own gold. You were forced to turn it in. While that law was repealed in 1974, It sets a terrifying precedent for what a government will do to control its currency and finances in a desperate situation. In a future crisis, a similar order for gold, silver, or even large amounts of cash is not out of the question. Protecting your wealth means getting it out of the system and into deep physical concealment. A home safe is a start, but it's also a target. You need multiple, clever hiding spots. Think about places that are difficult or just plain gross to search. A classic method is to seal cash or coins in a waterproof PVC pipe cache and hide it. The toilet tank is too cliché. What about the septic tank itself? A properly sealed container suspended inside is almost guaranteed to be safe. You could also bury a cache deep inside a large bag of potting soil or animal feed in your shed. Think three-dimensionally. People search horizontally. Look up. A fake PVC pipe runs along your attic rafters. Look down. A cache buried under a concrete floor or in a compartment cut into the subfloor beneath a heavy piece of furniture. Diversify your hiding spots. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and use decoys. A small safe with a bit of cash and a few silver coins is what you give up. It satisfies the search and protects your real hoard. And above all, secrecy. The more people who know, the greater your risk. Number 10. Draft blockers and insulation. Our 10th free and priceless item isn't a single object, but a concept, using what you have to control your home's environment. This is the art of makeshift draft blockers and insulation. The problem this solves is one of the most insidious dangers in a winter power outage: the cold. When the heat goes off, the temperature inside drops. For seniors, this is especially dangerous because as we age, our bodies are less efficient at regulating temperature. Hypothermia can set in slowly, even in a cool home, and its early signs: drowsiness, confusion can be easily missed. The expensive solutions are obvious: a generator, professionally installed storm windows. These are a massive financial investment that's not feasible for most. The free solution requires you to look at your home with new eyes. Your goal is to fight heat loss. First, drafts. Roll up bath towels or blankets and push them firmly against the bottom of every exterior door. For windows, you can use painter's tape to seal the cracks. Next, insulation. Your windows are a huge source of heat loss. Tack or tape blankets over the entire window frame, flatten cardboard boxes and tape them against the glass. The most important strategy, however, is to create a safe room. Instead of trying to keep your entire house warm, choose one small interior room. A bathroom is often ideal. Close the door and block the draft. By confining yourself to a smaller space, your own body heat will slowly raise the temperature. The priceless value of these techniques is that they empower you to take control. You are actively defending your home's warmth. These actions can keep your safe room many degrees warmer, and those few degrees can be the difference between safety and the onset of hypothermia. This knowledge transforms everyday items into a powerful defense against a silent and deadly threat. Number 11. Livestock and seeds. For the true long-term preparer, survival is about creating a sustainable future. That means producing your own food. This is where livestock and a deep seed bank become the most valuable assets you can own. A flock of chickens means daily protein, a goat means milk and cheese, and your seed bank is the key to feeding your family for generations. From a strategic perspective, all food production is a target in a famine. Historical emergency orders have always included authority over farms and food resources. It's the same logic armies have always used. They feed their troops by taking crops and livestock from the surrounding area. In a prolonged crisis, your small flock of chickens could be reallocated to a community farming program. Your seed bank is an even more critical target. Control the seeds, and you control the future. In a world where most seeds are hybrids, your stash of heirloom, non-GMO, open-pollinated seeds is priceless. It's not hard to imagine an order demanding all viable seeds be turned over to a federal bank for preservation and agricultural redevelopment, effectively preventing you from creating your own independent food to supply. Protecting these living assets requires a different approach. For livestock, concealment is hard. Chickens are noisy and goats smell. The best strategy is to make your operation look smaller than it is. A small, obvious coop near the house is your show flock. A second, hidden and camouflaged coop in a wooded part of your property could house the rest of your birds. And lose the rooster, you can't afford the noise. For seeds, the principles are the same as hiding other valuables, but they need to be kept cool, dark, and dry. An ammo can is a great seed bank in a can. Place your labeled, mylar-bagged seeds inside with desiccant packs, and then hide the can. Create multiple seed banks. Bury one, hide one in the attic, and keep a small go bank with essential seeds in your bug-out bag. Finally, have a living seed bank. Let some of your plants go to seed each year in a hidden guerrilla garden to keep producing fresh, locally adapted seeds. As we've covered, the mindset for widespread confiscation is a historical reality. In a true crisis, governments don't ask, they direct. The very things you need to survive are the same things an authority needs to establish control. Your food, your water, your power, they all become liabilities the moment the system breaks. But the point here is not to scare you, it's to make you think. Preparedness is a chess game, not just a hoarding game. It's about understanding all the threats and taking smart steps to counter them. Every single item on this list can be protected. It just takes creativity, discipline, and a serious commitment to secrecy. Your best defense is a well-kept secret. A hidden cache, a decentralized supply, a skill nobody knows you have. The work you do now, in the quiet time, will determine your freedom when it matters most. Start thinking in layers. Create decoys. Distribute your assets. And never assume one hiding spot is enough. The world is an uncertain place. Your preparation doesn't have to be. Take this knowledge, apply it, and turn your home from a target into a fortress. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, and stay free. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. In our next video, we'll get hands-on and show you exactly how to build an undetectable underground cache. You won't want to miss it.